So for building a nationally competitive workforce, we did some research to identify what the regional challenges are in the country. One of the key challenges in this region, as probably most of you are aware, is high youth unemployment. You have unemployment in Saudi Arabia among youth that's about 18% of 15 to 24-year-olds are classified as not in education, employment, and training. So the private sector can really play an active role in this area, in the right training and upskilling to prepare these young people for entry into the workforce. Public and private partnerships are needed in this area, which is why we really for this year are focusing on how we can better support MPOs that are active in this regional challenge. Competitive workforce is engaging women in the workforce. You have 57% of your females have degrees, yet some of the cultural strains have hindered them from participating in the workforce. One key barrier and challenge in the private sector is one of the cultural aspects that you require female and male to work in separate areas. So one way to tackle this issue is for the private sector to invest in providing these areas so that this entry barrier can be removed for women. Daycare is another key area and challenge for working mothers. And again, the private sector can invest in providing daycare facilities so there's more participation among working mothers. Transportation, another key one that we've identified. It's a real barrier, it's a financial burden. So if the private sector can provide transportation for employees, especially female employees, that would remove another entry barrier for women. Of course, there's also the issue of the imbalance between the Saudi and expat community in the workforce. You have right now 1/3 of expats residing in the country are on foreign work visas. So what we really need to tackle this area is to provide the incentives to encourage Saudi nationals to play a more active role in the private sector, but also the right training so they have the capacity to enter the workforce. For innovating solutions for social development, we really think that companies can benefit by aligning their business strategy with their social impact strategy. I know charitable activities is a big thing in Saudi Arabia, but if we can get companies to think about how they can integrate their social impact, the way that they want to engage with underdeveloped communities within the core business operations and products and services that they offer, it will be far more effective and economically viable for the companies. So as I said, businesses acting as businesses and not just as charitable givers are arguably the most powerful force in our society. Another key area is there is a need to enhance social services in the kingdom by having more public-private interventions and partnerships to improve the conditions of individuals and the communities. So there's really an opportunity here for the private sector to create commercial and social value by ensuring good internal policies and developing the necessary products and services for undeveloped communities. Thanks, Alex. For the third section, empowering local suppliers, really what's needed is a more robust and efficient local supply chain in Saudi Arabia. So we've done some research and identified an easy how-to of how to tackle this regional challenge. How about encouraging investment in local suppliers, building the capacity of local suppliers, and helping suppliers increase the sourcing levels by really ensuring you have contracts with companies that have these policies in place. No, sorry. So the three key ways to integrate this is securing long-term purchasing contracts and service agreements with local suppliers, capacity building of local suppliers with sufficient financial and technological support, and working with suppliers that have high ethical and legal standards. For the governance and high quality section, we really need companies to not just think about governance in one area, but in a more balanced approach of serving the needs of all their key stakeholders, employees, communities, investors as a whole. We have some great companies here that are doing very good work in one area, but maybe their core business impact and strategies are actually affecting a completely other area that needs to be looked at. So one thing that is really needed is to adopt good governance, to have the right policies, ethical codes in place, to be transparent and disclose the right financial information in the reports, not just by, following legal regional kind of codes, but going above and beyond and providing the necessary information about your operations and your business practices. Seeking customer feedback, having responsible products, high quality products and services that don't do damage to the environment. And of course, as I said, one thing that we identified is gender discrimination is very high in Saudi Arabia. So the United Nations Committee on Elimination of Discrimination has raised this issue of the treatment of women, and we really need companies to integrate the right ethics code and policies so employees can raise grievances regarding discrimination. For responsible environmental management, again, we've identified 3 areas that really need to be looked at: desertification, waste management, and water consumption. I'm not going to go into too much detail because you have a lot of information in the guideline regarding those 2 areas, but the one area that I really want everybody to think about is water. Water scarcity is a real issue, not just here in Saudi Arabia, but globally. The water consumption rate here in Saudi Arabia is double the world average. This is very high. We really need companies to integrate the right environmental management systems to mitigate the negative impacts, minimize risk, and reduce their costs. Thank you.